411
Welcome back to the virtual studio and the 411 podcast. I am Pat Daly. To my left, Mr. Michael Quattromani.
Pleasure as always.
Hello, me, Mr. Will Casey.
As always,
it's a pleasure. Boys, always a pleasure. What a super! I don't want to say what a Super Bowl we witnessed. It was a blowout. Can't even believe it. By the way, I'm just gonna say bravo, Michael. Very nice. Yeah. Michael called it. Very nice.
He did call it season one.
A fantastic Super Bowl. Boys, how we doing today? How we feeling?
Come on. February break. We're talking about
February
football.
break, and Tom now has 7 Super Bowls.
Oh my God.
I it's unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
February break, we all needed this. Big exhale, but a big inhale for this podcast.
I liked that, Pat.
We got a good one for you today. We're going to keep it real simple. We're just going to go Super Bowl reactions. It was a blowout, surprisingly, but it was a great game. There was a lot to take away from that, and there's a lot to talk about. Welcome to the offseason. Super excited about it. And we're going to start off this offseason with QB Carousel. We're going to give out some players, some quarterbacks. Where are they going? This is a huge offseason in general, moves, trades, drop signings in general, but especially for the Patriots. We got a lot coming for you this offseason. Mike, start us off. What do you think about the Super Bowl?
It was a fun game to watch. And you know, it's obviously it wasn't 2-minute drive going on the field. Can they do it? It wasn't like that, but it was a game where the general consensus was pick the Chiefs. Whether you're picking them by 3 or 30, you're picking the Chiefs. So to see a game that the game plan the Bucs had to just completely suffocate any offense the Chiefs could have, it was a lot of fun to watch, in my opinion. And I couldn't imagine what it'd be like for a Chiefs fan, but I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. Just seeing, honestly, just proving the point. Quarterbacks are not the only part of a team. It's like plain and simple. You are not going to win a Super Bowl based off of one singular player. It just doesn't happen. So I think obviously the absence of Eric Fisher, the left tackle and the right tackle and the right guard, it just took a toll. And when you're facing the best front 7 in the NFL and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, they didn't blitz. I think they only blitzed 5 times the entire game. They sent 4 pretty much the entire game, just made Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable. And the stat that I will remember for the next few months, Patrick Mahomes was pressured on 60% of his dropbacks. That's a ridiculous number.
I have that in this podcast note.
Yeah.
Look, this was a bonkers game, especially for this Bucs defense. And Mikey took the words right out of my mouth. At the end of the day, one position can't win you a Super Bowl. Like you said, bravo Mahomes, first of all. I want to give all the credit in the world to Mahomes. He still had a really solid game. For what he was given, he had a solid game. He had absolutely no O-line help. What's that, Will?
He threw 2 picks.
I know, but there were 2 drop touchdowns. I mean, did you see the throws where he was parallel with the ground? I mean, just
Mahomes was doing everything.
Unreal.
He had absolutely no help. He still got absolutely bonkers passes off. When you're pressured on, and I wrote this down, 60% of snaps, you're not going to win. You're not going to win, especially against this Buccaneers defense. Will, what do you think?
Us as Patriots fans, we've been waiting for a game like this out of Tom Brady for the longest time. As much fun as those come from behind last-second wins are, we've been saying for the longest time, it's time for a Super Bowl where you can just sit back and watch a good old Tom Brady.
And watch Tom Brady do his thing.
And we finally got it. Well, he's not on the Patriots anymore, but we finally got the game.
And it's so weird, Will, because all we've seen, like, oh, what's vintage Tom Brady? Like Michael said, 2-minute drive, this. This is the first time in Tom Brady's winning Super Bowl history that it wasn't close.
Yeah.
It's always close. It's always you're literally shitting yourself the entire time. It wasn't even close. They didn't score a touchdown.
I also want to bring up one other interesting thing that might be a surprise to some, but might not be a surprise to others. Tom Brady and Gronk connected for 2 touchdowns this game.
Crazy.
Gronk hasn't had the best season. Going into this game, I thought Cameron Brate was going to be the tight end, how it has been basically the whole season. And then Tom Brady and Gronk, I guess I shouldn't have bet against them, you know. But
yeah, never granted Tom. Yeah, I do have a question. I have a question. Is that all right? Did Tom Brady deserve the MVP? Okay, I'll put it this way. I think there are a lot of players that deserved it. Do you think Tom Brady
Okay,
should have
but
won it.
before I answer that question, I want to know who you think was deserving of the MVP other
I
than Tom
mean,
Brady.
Devin White had a crazy game. I mean, he had like 12 tackles, 3
I
tackles
respected
for
Devin
loss,
White.
fumble recovery, pick. I mean, the guy was all over the
I
field.
also like Leonard Fournette for that
Loved
MVP.
Fournette. Yeah, even
But
Gronk.
I just think when it comes down to it, are you not going to give that MVP trophy to Tom Brady?
You knew if Brady threw anything more than 100 yards and a touchdown, he was going to win it. If the
Yeah, he was
Bucks ended
gonna
up winning the game.
Mike, I was just gonna say that quarterbacks are so favored when it comes to MVP,
Yeah.
when it comes to
especially being the
Super Bowl
greatest
MVP.
of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't not give it to him. And yeah, I think he was deserving of it. No interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Come on.
I'd give it to Todd Bowles, honestly. Like, if you can give it to a coach, dude, Todd, to keep Patrick Mahomes, they didn't score a touchdown.
Crazy.
Patrick Mahomes was kept out of the end zone for 60 minutes.
And that does not happen like ever.
It hasn't happened not in his NFL career, not in his college career, not in his high school career. Never happened to Patrick Mahomes. He's never not scored a touchdown in not an NFL game, not a college game, not a high school game, ever. That's ridiculous.
Literally since the time he was like 14.
To do it on the main stage in the Super Bowl and keep a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes under wraps, Todd Bowles deserves it.
That's crazy.
I've got one more thing I want to say about this Super Bowl, and it's almost not even Super Bowl related. I think Jackson Mahomes may have taken a bigger L than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah.
He might have.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say that I mentioned in our previous podcast, the Buccaneers played 4 quarters of full football. We said it. I did have the Chiefs winning because I thought that was a smart move once again. Bravo, Michael. Very nice. Yeah. But I did say if the Bucs play 4 full quarters of football, they're gonna have a chance to win this game, and they did. I give all the credit in the world to that entire offense, and honestly, more so that defense.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah,
to be able to shut down Patrick Mahomes like that, bravo. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I completely agree. First of all, completely agree. Bucks, that was the main thing coming to this game. But I just want to revise it, for my opinion, at least for a little bit. I think the Bucks defensively played 4 full quarters, and that was the difference maker. Their offense put up 0 in the 4th quarter. They didn't need to score. All they needed to do was just milk the clock away, and they did that well. I think defensively, I completely agree with you 110%. This team played 4 full quarters, kept the pressure on, kept the coverage tight, made Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable for 4 straight, 60 straight minutes. That was the ultimate, that's what swayed it.
How about Winfield, the Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, that was iconic. That was sick.
that was cocky. That was brutal.
Yeah. I mean, Tyreek did it to him earlier in the year, so I mean,
what do we think about these players who are mic'd up? I want to bring up one specific situation with Tom Brady, and I think it was Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah.
He said after the game, Tom Brady called me something I don't want to repeat or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the audio came out the day after. He deleted the tweet, and nothing came of it.
Yeah, I mean, Brady was mic'd up. I mean, so they ended up finding out he didn't say anything wrong. I do love watching the mic'd up highlights afterwards.
It's so strange that you try and slander Tom Brady.
Come on, it's Tommy.
Everybody who knows Tom Brady knows he would never say anything like, yes, he's a trash talker.
Mm-hmm.
We've known Tom Brady as a trash talker, but we know he wouldn't say anything offensive to people like that even on the field.
Of course.
It's just, I hold Tom Brady to standards too high to even think that of him.
Yeah. And it's good to hear that obviously he didn't say any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely happy to hear that. Just to wrap up this game, final thoughts, boys. Mike.
They're my way too early pick next year. I mean, they gotta be. Well,
that's premature. That's premature.
Of course it is. And that's why it's my way too early pick. So, I mean, right now, given the rosters, if they can bring back everybody, again, this team was without OTAs, without a training camp, and Leonard Fournette and Antonio Brown didn't come until halfway through the year. Leonard Fournette wasn't a starter until halfway through the year. So, I mean, I still think that this team hasn't hit their full potential yet if Brady's playing at the same level he did this year, and there's no reason to assume he won't. I know regardless of age, It's like,
We've said it. People have said it so many times.
yeah, it's like 3 straight years. Okay, this is the year Brady's going to fall off. And that never happens. So I'm at the point where, Brady, you're going to keep doing you until I literally see you suck.
Agreed.
So, look, I think the Bucks, come on. I got to take them, right?
Will.
Way too early. I might have to agree with Mike on that way too early pick. I doubted Mike before the season started, and look what happened. I can't bet against Michael Quattromani, Tom Brady.
Brady more especially.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Who's your way too early pick?
Look, I don't want to throw out a way too early pick quite yet, but I see the Chiefs bouncing back and doing something next season. That's got to mess with Patrick Mahomes at least a little bit, probably a lot.
Oh yeah.
Especially that's the first time. So I don't see the Chiefs going, and I don't really see the Bucks going away. I mean, I don't really like. I don't like this question because it's so early. I got to see what happens in the offseason. But right now,
we love the way too early picks.
Me too.
Way too early picks are fun.
But yeah, all around a fantastic game, a fantastic season, and a fantastic offseason to come, boys.
Let's transition, Pat. Love it.
You know me. Come on. Let's talk quarterback carousel. I'm going to throw out 4 quarterback names for you, where they're landing, why, what's happening to them. Do they deserve a starting spot, sitting spot? What about them? Do you think, what is that X factor that puts them at that level of start, sit, where they're going and why? So first quarterback I'm going to throw out, Michael's favorite, Cam Newton.
Love Cam.
Mike, I want to start with you because I know how you feel about Cam.
Yeah, I've said this before, and it's kind of like a scripted rant. I guess I've said it so many times at this point, but I just simply cannot sit here and say that an NFL team will have looked at what Cam Newton did last year and say to themselves, we want him as a starter. I don't see it. I don't know why the Patriots would want him. As a starter, no. Maybe as a veteran presence as a backup, sure.
Yes.
But I just don't see him as a starter. He's 31 years old. He has shown absolutely no signs of returning back to Super Cam or whatever. I'm not a fan of him. The injury, his arm is shot. His legs are
depleted,
shoddy. Like I just don't see it. He doesn't have the greatest weapons. Jacoby Myers and Damiere Byrd are not a whole lot to write home about. But I also don't think that there are multiple times if you just watch like the lowlights of Cam Newton where Cam Newton would have them wide open and he would just miss them, blatantly just miss them. So I don't see Cam Newton having a starter role anywhere. I've seen Washington's name being thrown around as a potential backup role, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I was going to say pretty much the same thing. I was going to say if he was going to start anywhere, it would be somewhere like Washington, who's kind of desperate for a quarterback in general. So yeah, I pretty much agree with Mike for like the third time this podcast. Wherever he goes, he's probably going to end up being a backup, if that. There's no other angle to see this from. It's just no team is going to look at his stats and his performance and his tape from last year and say, yes, I want him as a starter.
You boys took the words right out of my mouth. For me,
yeah,
I think he's a Washington football player. That's what I think. Like you said, the quarterback room in Washington right now is really scrambled. I think it's one of those things where it's like, we got a great defense. We got a great rookie in Chase Young. Why not, like Mike said, why not throw a veteran quarterback in there? If Heineke doesn't work out, if, Alex Smith, this, and this, what's going to happen? Have him as a backup plan. He's got a relationship with Riviera already. I see him in Washington next season. But
I will say, leave it to New England to find a way and for some reason to sign him back.
Sign him again.
I've seen that thrown around because I just thought.
Saying it now, I'd be livid. I'd be livid.
I would not have as much enjoyment watching a Patriots game if I see Cam Newton and Josh McDaniels play calling with a run-heavy offense. I'll be very upset. But I guess I'm playing devil's advocate here. But in Bill Belichick's mind, he may be thinking Cam Newton was set up for failure. He didn't have any tight ends. He didn't have OTAs, training camp. He didn't have anything. We're going to try it one more time, hopefully get him some pieces around him and see what he can do. I think
we can win now. We can win now.
I know. Pat used a great phrase earlier. We were talking about Andy Dalton, who is on the Patriots radar apparently. No more Band-Aid quarterbacks. Cam Newton is a Band-Aid quarterback. You use him there for a year. He's your bridge guy. He's your bridge
Ryan
guy to see who your
Fitzpatrick,
next.
Band-Aid quarterback.
Yep.
Trying to think of other guys that are Jacoby Brissett, Band-Aid quarterback. I'm done with it. We tried a Band-Aid quarterback in Cam Newton. It didn't work.
Sign Mac Jones, sign Trey Lance, sign anybody.
And listen, if this team was not in win now mode, take like the Lions. They know that they're preparing for the future. They got a ton of first round picks. They got Jared Goff as their bridge, their Band-Aid. They know they're not in win now mode. The Patriots have the tools. They do. We need a couple of things. We add a couple more things, and we can potentially make the playoffs next season. I'm not saying we're going to the Super Bowl.
Fourth highest cap space in the NFL. I mean, it is going against them that they're in a trending division and they're in a trending conference. But look, fourth highest cap, you get 9 of your opt-outs back, including 2 of your captains. They got a shot.
Quarterback, we need a veteran receiver because we can't develop receivers for shit. And we need somebody to rush the pass. That's all we need. That's it. Sorry. It makes me so frustrated. No more Band-Aid quarterbacks. Get rid of Cam Newton. Plan for the future.
Well, I would give my left arm for JJ Watt.
It's going to take, I think this is going to be like a multi-year restructuring thing. This isn't going to be fast. Yeah. So I say next year, we just take Stidham and start him.
Wow.
Really?
I don't know if it's worth it to pay a quarterback right now, especially with the state of our football team. I don't see us signing multiple guys this offseason to try and turn it around for 2021. I think it's going to be a multi-year restructuring type of thing.
The rumors are that they're going to be aggressive this offseason, whatever it means. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I don't see it really happening. It's tough to make it turn around that fast.
Yeah. I do agree with
you.
For
any sport, for any team, it's tough to do. Right?
All right, boys. Second quarterback is going to be Jimmy G. Will, start us off.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy G.
I've been talking with Michael and Pat before the podcast on this one. Just going to state the obvious. He's injury prone. He is very injury prone. As far as New England goes, maybe he could be a good backup again, but I doubt Jimmy Garoppolo would want to do that to himself.
There are 2 ways I look at this. It's what I want the Patriots to do and what I think the Patriots are going to do. Those are 2 very different things. Okay. What I want the Patriots to do is draft a young quarterback and get a backup veteran in like Andy Dalton, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I love Andy Dalton for that.
Yeah. Andy Dalton, to get him in there. If it doesn't work out, kind of like the whole Fitzpatrick Tua kind of thing that happened in Miami this year. That kind of dynamic.
I love that Andy Dalton pick.
A rising team has the talent. It's not quite there yet, but they're close, just like the Dolphins. New quarterback. What I think the Patriots are going to do is just so my answer to this Jimmy G question that I asked is I think the Patriots are going to get him. I really do.
Me too.
And I don't want him. I don't want him.
The Patriots have signed Brian Hoyer like 6 different times. They're going to go with a guy who Bill's comfortable with.
I don't want him.
I
can't explain how much I don't want Jimmy G. I don't want him.
I could not agree with you anymore. I think you are 100% correct with that.
Jimmy Garoppolo is a flimsy lasagna noodle. He is. I'm gonna read Jimmy Garoppolo's game logs.
I'm gonna hold you to your word on that. Jimmy Garoppolo equals lasagna. All right.
Lasagna.
Yes. So 2016 Deflategate. Oh, first of all, hoax. Second of all, 4 games he was out. Jimmy Garoppolo got injured in the second game. Season after that, only played 5 games. Season after that, played 3 games. Season after that, played 16, 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions for a completion percentage of 69. 69. Season after that, played 6 games. The guy averages like 7 games a season. Do you want to pay? First of all, his contract is $25 million. And if the Niners were to drop him, they would only have to take $2.8 million of that contract. The Patriots, anybody, would have to pay him $50 million over the next 2 seasons. Do you want to pay a flimsy lasagna noodle $25 million a year to play 7 games?
Right.
And play above average?
In my honest opinion, I don't think Bill Belichick should be the general manager anymore.
Oh, me neither.
He's a bottom 10 general manager.
It was never meant to be a job held by one person.
Nope. Bill O'Brien.
It was not meant to be one person.
100% agree.
Maybe it's too much for him. Maybe Bill's invincible. I don't know what's going on,
Right.
but I don't think he should be the GM anymore. I think it was meant to be two different people. I don't know.
I just don't like
the
it.
Patriots and draft picks, as far as the GM goes, and the Patriots and developing. I don't know.
It sounds so much better than what it actually is. Like, oh, the coach gets to draft or sign players they
Yeah,
want to coach.
It
Sounds
sounds
great.
like something that'll be helpful.
Sounds great, but it's not because he hasn't drafted a Pro Bowler since 2013, and his signings have been subpar at
That
best.
just goes to show it's a different skill set meant to be two different people.
I
Absolutely.
completely agree.
Yeah. Boys, I completely agree with all the Jimmy G stuff. We got him going to the Patriots, sadly.
I don't think he'll go. I don't think he will. I think he'll end up in
So what's your take?
I think he'll end up in San Francisco. Personally.
You think he's staying in San Fran?
Or I think I honestly, dude, why would they eat up $23 million? I think honestly they'll probably drop him. I know I'm kind of thinking on the fly, but I think they'll probably drop him. Honestly, this is a Super Bowl contending team if they first of all sign everyone back and get their injured players back. If that happens, this is the same team they had in 2019.
Yeah, fair. Third quarterback I got for you guys. Everybody's talking about him, Desean Watson. Where's he
If you
going?
don't mind, I'd actually like to start this one.
Yeah,
off.
Please.
So I've actually got a couple teams that I could see Deshaun Watson ending up in. But before I start, I want to say that he has said that he's willing to sit out the entire 2021 season. I just thought that was really interesting. And I think that means he has a very specific vision in mind. The man wants a ring. The man wants a team that's going to fit him. And if he has to wait even just an extra year to get that fit, he's going to do it. So I think a couple options for him. And I'm going to start with one that's maybe a little bit of a stretch in the Steelers. He's going for teams that are almost there. The Steelers are definitely have some decent weapons and some rising stars like Juju. And I also want to say the Saints because what's his face is retired now.
Imagine Deshaun and the Saints.
Drew Brees. And they've got good weapons there and Michael Thomas. But I think one of the better fits for Deshaun Watson would be Miami. Because it's warm there. It's like his home climate. And sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
Oh, good.
I like the Miami pick. I don't personally agree with Pittsburgh and Saints, and just for the same reason, just salary in different ways. Saints are $100 million over the cap. So I don't know. I think they got the front runner is supposed to be Jameis Winston. I could see the Saints potentially going in and trading like Michael Thomas or something for him. But I don't see the Saints, and Ben Roethlisberger has the highest cap hit in the NFL at $41 million. If he's willing to restructure that deal and potentially not come back, which is a stretch, I would love from a impractical standpoint, just looking at the pure rosters, I think the Steelers is the best spot for him because obviously
I've also heard the Jets thrown around as a spot for him.
Yeah, Jets and Dolphins are like in the Broncos too.
I see the Jets though. The Jets are horrendous.
Imagine having to deal with Deshaun Watson 2 times a year.
Oh my God.
Oh,
if I will say this, if Deshaun Watson goes to the Jets, I think that the future for the Patriots is not good. I really don't think it is. Because
we need the AFC East to continue to suck.
The AFC East will be it won't be better than the NFC West. It's not better than the Cardinals, Rams, Niners, and
And also, a quarterback does not make a team. I don't see the Jets going.
Hold on. Tom Brady and the Patriots?
John Watson, but they would have the number 2 pick of the draft. They would trade Sam Darnold. Or they'd probably trade the number 2 for Deshaun Watson, but they trade Darnold over, and they have a ton of cap space to bring in new guys. That's the whole thing about Deshaun Watson. And if they don't get Watson, they have no reason to sign a ton of guys.
Yeah. For me, I still got Deshaun Watson. I'm just thinking about it now. I do have Deshaun Watson going. You had a lot of good points, but I'm gonna follow the hype. I have Deshaun Watson going to the Niners. I completely agree with you. They're in win now mode. They are getting all those pieces back once they're off, IR. They're all injured right now. Once they get those pieces back, they're going to be a dangerous team. Niners.
Yeah. To me, I got it narrowed down to 2. I have the 49ers as one of my teams. I actually didn't know. I genuinely did not know that if the Niners were to cut Jimmy G, they don't have to pay him $2 million. I thought they'd still eat the $25 million contract. But with now knowing that, I see the Niners as an even bigger landing spot for Deshaun. And I think that the Niners front office would be smart to go out and get him because they have 40 pending free agents, which is head and shoulders above the rest of the NFL when it comes to pending free agents. So if they were to sign him, you're telling the free agents, come on back over here. We're going in. And if you want to win a ring, come on over. So I see the Niners as one. Another, I know I already threw them around.
Considering is the Bears, honestly.
Yeah, if they move Trubisky.
I am not a believer in Mr. Trubisky at all. I think they need a new quarterback there if they want to start winning.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But my other team that I have, and I know I threw him around for the Cam Newton, but I got Washington. Washington, to me, is a quarterback away from being a legit contender. The NFC is wide open. I think there are 4 teams in the NFC that are good, in my opinion, and the NFC sucks. So
I didn't want to say the the Washington football team, because they're just not great yet. They did win their division because their division is pretty bad.
It's buns, right?
But I did not think of it from the perspective of they will win their division if Deshaun Watson goes.
To me, they just have a lot of good young talent. Like, I mean, I love Terry McLaurin.
I don't think they're Super Bowl ready.
No.
I think that's kind of what Deshaun Watson wants.
Yeah, I just think if Deshaun Watson, but no, because that's weird because I've heard that report too, but he wants to go to the Jets, which is so weird to me because it's very contradictory.
I don't. When a Super Bowl, does he want money? What does this guy want?
Okay,
exactly.
So if he wants to go to the Jets, maybe it's more about he wants to pioneer a team for himself.
Yeah. Which is weird because wouldn't he just want to stay in Houston?
Yeah,
because he could do that himself. I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me.
Houston. He's sick of Houston.
Yeah, I would go to Miami if I were him. Miami, Niners, or Washington. Those are my 3 teams.
Quick before we move on to the next quarterback, where do you think J.J. Watt's ended up?
Browns. He is strongly considering the Browns. Apparently, pair him up with Myles Garrett. You got one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. That would be.
I would love to see him in a Patriots uniform. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
I told you, I'd get this arm. I would chop it off for JJ Watt. That solves one of their biggest needs. I know he's 31 and injury prone, but come on, man.
JJ Watt, bro.
I want him.
Are you kidding?
Boy, to close out quarterback carousel, the first question, can this guy even compete? And if he can, where's he going as a backup starter? Carson Wentz.
Chicago Bears.
That's
they've got a thing for bad quarterbacks there.
Yeah. I also have him going to the Bears. On the Bears part, I don't think it's a very smart move, but I do have him going to the Bears.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't think it's going to happen. I know that's a report that's going around. I don't see it. I just think the Bears are in a spot where they're not really ready to compete. And I think that if you're looking...
Hold on, dude, they made the playoffs. If you make the playoffs...
8-8.
I'd say that's
if you make the playoffs, dude, you can compete. You're close to competing.
It's 8-8. I don't know.
Okay. The playoffs.
Dude, you made the playoffs. You can compete.
All right, Washington football team.
I'm talking about for a Super Bowl.
No, I don't think that the Bears are ready to compete for a Super Bowl.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
And that's it. But to answer your question about Carson Wentz, that's actually the question like I'm more interested in, if I'm being honest. I think he can be good. I really do. Don't forget what this guy was like before this season. His touchdown to interception numbers were nuts. 33-7, 21-7, 27-7. The guy was an efficient, great quarterback. This year, he had a few issues with throwing picks. I understand that, but it was more of a mechanics thing. He obviously just watching him in the pocket, it's clear that his footwork wasn't that great. And also, he's shown no signs of having interception issues before this year. So I still think he can be a good quarterback. The instability in the front office, the awful offensive line they had, the lack of weapons, give him a stable offense like Indianapolis, and I think he could be
going to say Indianapolis. Yeah.
Indianapolis is my pick. If they can eat up his cap space, which they can, they have the second most cap in the NFL. I would love to see him go to Indianapolis.
Well, once again, on Indianapolis's part, I don't think that's a smart move because I agree. I feel like we've talked about this. I think the Colts are a quarterback away. The AFC is really building right now. There are a lot of great potential teams that can compete. I don't think you waste that quarterback away on Carson Wentz. I really don't.
Well, then then I'll just put you on the spot. Who else? Who else would they go for?
Good question, homie.
Because that's the thing. They have no one on the roster. They have Jacob Eason, their 5th-round pick from last season. They have no one there. So they have to make a move. And I think they are a Super Bowl ready team. Their defense is legit. Great run game. If they just land a wide receiver, great offensive line, great coaching. If they can just land a wide receiver, they could be a legit contender. I just think they need a quarterback. And Philip Rivers is already retired.
Absolutely.
Just as a final statement here for Carson Wentz, according to just some of like the Chicago area guys, like Daniel Greenberg, they're saying that the Bears are pushing the hardest for Wentz, so they want him.
It was reported that it was 2 second-round picks. That was like the biggest offer they made.
Really?
If I'm the Eagles, I would do it. I mean, you get him off your books. You hopefully build for Jalen Hurts, who, first of all, I think is trash. I think Jalen Hurts sucks. Wow. I think he's one of the most overrated rookies in the league.
I think that's a hot take.
Jalen, it's like every rookie quarterback. People think he's like
the starter
future.
for how many games? I don't think it's time yet.
Yeah, I'm just saying in his sample size, I don't think he was all that good.
Give him 2021 and then make a call on if he's.
I completely agree. I think that I'm a big advocate for like the 3 years rule that I saw from somebody else. It's like you give a quarterback 3 years before you really decide whether they're good or not. I think Hurts can be good. He wasn't that great last year.
Cam Newton.
No, Cam Newton's in like his 10th year and he blows.
Yeah, boys, quarterback carousel. It's going to be an interesting offseason. A lot to talk about coming up in the podcasts.
So much stuff about.
But this one's coming to an end. We got a lot coming for you this offseason. Happy offseason for everyone here at the 401 Podcast. I'm Pat Daly signing off.
Michael Quattromani signing off.
And
Will Casey signing off.
This is the 401 Podcast. We will see you next time. Let's go, boys.
Good stuff.